Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're tackling something, something we all deal with, but often find incredibly tough: forgiveness.
Hmm.
We usually think of it as, a matter of the heart, maybe a spiritual journey, that moment you choose to let go of a hurt or a betrayal.
A big decision.
But what if that choice isn't just some abstract moral thing? What if it's actually happening right inside your brain, like a complex, intricate dance of neurons?
A biological superpower almost.
Exactly. Could it be something evolved to heal not just relationships, but maybe even, reality itself? It sounds big, I know.
It does, but it's a fascinating question.
Okay, so let's unpack this.
Hmm.
Our mission today is a real deep dive into this fascinating intersection of cutting edge neuroscience and some pretty profound metaphysical thought.
Hmm.
All to truly understand forgiveness is this biological superpower, something hardwired into us.
And to explore this, we're looking at a really unique mix of sources.
We are. We've got robust, peer-reviewed neuroscience papers, the kind that map the brain's mechanics during forgiveness. Really specific stuff.
Yeah, and then some bolts.
And alongside that, we have this really thought-provoking Christian pantheist text, Breath of the Cosmos, a Christian pantheist guide to quantum living.
Which offers a, let's say, cosmic perspective.
Completely. So the aim is to explore how forgiveness is both, this meticulously orchestrated biological process and a deeply resonant spiritual experience.
Moving beyond just saying it's the right thing to do.
Way beyond that. We're talking about a neurological recalibration and a metaphysical remembrance of wholeness. That's the goal.
And what's really fascinating here is how these seemingly disparate sources, the hard brain science and the deep spiritual philosophy, they don't just sit side by side, they actually illuminate each other.
Right, they talk to each other.
Exactly. On their own, they're valuable, sure. But together, you get this much richer, multidimensional understanding of forgiveness, something neither could really achieve in isolation. So the central idea we're exploring is that forgiveness isn't just an external act you perform, or even just an emotional shift inside. It seems to be fundamentally ingrained in our biology.
Like built in.
Built in, yet it also connects to these profound, universal spiritual truths. Truths that might resonate through, everything.
Okay.
So the aha moment for you listening might be realizing that the very structure of your brain, it could actually be hardwired for mercy, for moving past harm.
Wow.
And that biological tendency, in turn, could reflect a deeper, maybe universal pattern, a kind of cosmic blueprint.
So it's not just about letting go of pain, like we always hear.
It's potentially much bigger. It's about participating in maybe a neural and metaphysical reordering of reality, an active, transformative process on every level.
That phrase, reordering reality, that's huge. So if we usually think of forgiveness as just a feeling, how does the brain do that reordering?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Most of us see it as purely emotional,
Yeah.
a spontaneous thing, maybe a spiritual commitment. But the cognitive neuroscience is showing something else.
Right. It's painting picture of it being a sophisticated function of the brain itself, a complex neurocognitive process.
So what's involved? What are the components?
Well, several key things converge. First, there's precise emotional regulation. That's your ability to manage intense feelings, anger, resentment, the urge for revenge.
Okay, keeping things in check.
Exactly. Then there's this complex skill, empathic perspective taking, your brain's incredible capacity to step into someone else's shoes.
Even if you don't agree with them.
Especially then, trying to understand their intentions, their limits. And finally, there's the power of memory reappraisal.
Which isn't just remembering, right?
No, it's actively reinterpreting past events, changing their emotional weight, their narrative context.
And these things don't just float around.
No, they converge. They activate specific interconnected brain regions. And this whole picture reframes forgiveness. It's not just random. It's an evolved neurocognitive process.
Evolved, like for survival.
Potentially, yes.
Yes.
A biologically adaptive mechanism, refined over millennia, probably to help restore social bonds, protect long-term cooperation.
Makes sense. For tribes, group cohesion was everything.
Absolutely. So forgiveness isn't just nice. It might be fundamental to how our brains ensure group well-being.
Wow. Built-in social glue.
You could say that. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, this is where Matthew Lieberman's work on the X system and C system is so helpful.
Okay, X and C systems, what are those?
Imagine your brain has two main operating modes. The X system is like your autopilot. Automatic, unconscious, immediate responses.
Like getting angry when someone cuts you off.
Exactly. That surge of anger, defensiveness, it's fast, efficient, often primal, designed for quick reactions.
Got it. The reactive part.
Then you have the C system. This engages your higher-order cognitive functions. Think deliberate control.
Like putting on the brakes.
Precisely. Controlled inhibition, stopping those immediate reactions, pausing. It also includes perspective-taking, that conscious effort to understand someone else.
Stepping back.
And narrative reappraisal, actively reframing the situation, changing the story you tell yourself.
So forgiveness uses which one?
It relies heavily on the C system, which tells us it's not passive. It's not just letting go without effort. It's conscious, effortful.
Requires mental work.
A lot of it. Deliberate engagement, overriding those potent X system reactions. It's an active, powerful undertaking. A choice, really, not just a feeling.
Absolutely. And when we talk about that conscious effort, that choice, we can actually see where it's happening in the brain.
With brain imaging, right? fMRI.
Exactly. Researchers see specific regions light up. One primary area consistently activated is the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, the DLPFC.
The brain CEO, basically.
That's a great way to put it. It's the executive control center, powerhouse for self-control, regulating negative emotions, making complex decisions.
So it makes sense for forgiveness reigning in anger, retaliation.
Right. It's helping you override that gut reaction, but it's not alone. We also see activity in areas like the temporoparietal junction, TPJ, the precuneus, and the inferior parietal lobule.
Ah, the empathy network areas.
Precisely. Crucial for empathy and theory of mind. That ability to understand others, have their own thoughts, beliefs, intentions.
Separate from ours.
Totally. Activating these lets you step outside your own immediate reaction and try to understand why the other person acted that way. Consider their perspective.
Which is fundamental to reappraising the whole thing, building a more complete picture.
Yeah, not just reacting to the hurt in isolation.
And building on that, Forey, Hortensius, and DeCidi offer this really clear framework. They identify 3 essential neural systems working together, like 3 teams.
Okay, what are the teams?
First, the cognitive control network, anchored in that lateral prefrontal cortex, including the DLPFC you mentioned.
The brake pedal again.
Right. Suppressing retaliatory impulses, actively inhibiting aggressive thoughts. Second, the mentalizing network, involving the TPJ and medial prefrontal cortex.
That's the empathy part.
Exactly. Enabling that deep empathic understanding of the offender's perspective, building a mental model of their state, motivations, maybe their pain.
Trying to see it from their side.
And third, the social valuation network, located in the ventromedial prefrontal cortex, the vmPFC.
Social valuation, like judging the situation.
Kind of. It acts like a social calculator, weighing the value of reconciliation versus punishment, asking, is restoring this relationship more beneficial, more aligned with my values than seeking retribution?
Wow. That's complex calculation.
It really is. And the profound implication here is that forgiveness is anything but passive surrender. It's a disciplined act of higher cognition.
Requires effort, neural effort.
Immense effort. Forey and colleagues call it a goal-directed override of anger and resentment, supported by those top-down controls.
So it's a proactive cognitive achievement.
That's their term. It's not the easy path. It might actually take more sustained mental effort to forgive than to just stay angry.
That's counterintuitive, isn't it? Holding a grudge feels draining, but maybe forgiving takes more active work.
Exactly. The grudge can feel like a default state. Forgiving involves this dynamic, effortful restructuring, a conscious choice demanding serious brain power.
That's a powerful reframe. Forgiveness as achievement. And if we look at it evolutionarily, like McCullough, Kurzban, and Tabak-Du, this cognitive effort makes sense.
As an adaptation.
Right. They propose it serves a critical adaptive purpose, a survival mechanism. Think about early human societies. If every wrong led to endless revenge cycles,
Cooperation would collapse. Constant conflict.
Exactly. Social bonds dissolve, survival gets way harder. So forgiveness might have evolved to prevent those costly cycles, to repair relationships, rebuild trust, keep cooperation going.
Makes sense for group survival.
They introduce this concept, the welfare trade-off ratio, or WTR.
WTR. Go.
It's basically a cognitive mechanism weighing the social value of keeping a relationship versus ending it or retaliating.
A kind of internal scale.
Pretty much. So someone harms you, your WTR towards them plummets.
And here's the key. If that person still has high relational value.
Like family or a key ally.
Right. A vital tribe member, a long-term friend. Your brain calculates the long-term benefits of keeping that bond, even after the hurt, outweigh the short-term satisfaction of revenge.
So forgiveness becomes the rational choice.
The rational neuroeconomic choice, as they put it. An intelligent, adaptive strategy for group cohesion, well-being, survival. Pragmatic in a way. And this is where the science and, well, the sacred start to really connect, isn't it?
How so?
This capacity of the brain overriding impulses, reframing narratives, which neuroscience shows is key for forgiveness. Breath of the Cosmos sees that as mirroring the logic of a relational universe.
Not just a survival trick.
No, more like an echo of a deeper truth, a reflection of how the universe itself might tend toward coherence, integration.
Wow.
The text says, and this is profound, forgiveness is the breath's way of rewiring time. Memory no longer loops in harm, but open toward wholeness.
Rewiring time. So reappraisal isn't just about feeling better now.
According to this view, no. It's transforming the past's grip on your present and future. So forgiveness, even neurobiologically, isn't just psychological relief. It's a reintegration. Cognitive, emotional, spiritual.
Restoring coherence.
Interpersonal coherence, yes. And that reflects perhaps a larger harmony in the cosmos, suggesting the universe has this drive toward wholeness, and our brains are equipped to participate.
That's an incredible thought. Our neural wiring reflecting a cosmic blueprint. So if that's the broad view, let's zoom in again, into the brain's architecture of mercy.
In specific.
Right. Forgiveness isn't just diffuse. It happens in specific regions, each playing a role. Managing social pain, suppressing revenge, building empathy.
Understanding this anatomy gives clues about why it feels so liberating, maybe. Like a burden lifted.
Exactly. And a key study here is from Ricciardi and colleagues. They used fMRI, looking at people imagining forgiving someone who'd hurt them personally.
What do they find?
Strikingly consistent activation. The DLPFC, that control center, yes. But also strong activation in the right inferior parietal lobule and the precuneus.
Areas linked to empathy, perspective-taking, memory.
Right. And crucially, these activations were distinct from just recalling the hurt or reliving the pain.
So it's not just feeling less bad over time.
No, it shows forgiveness is an active, dynamic neural state, specific, engaged brain activity, conscious processing.
And the precuneus and inferior parietal lobule. Those are fascinating. They're central to the default mode network, the DMN.
The DMN, what's that do?
It's active when your brain isn't focused outward. Your internal monologue system, kind of.
Yeah.
Involved in self-reflection, thinking about past or future, and understanding others' minds, theory of mind.
Okay. How does it help forgiveness?
Ricciardi et al. Suggest it facilitates the cognitive recontextualization of betrayal.
Recontextualization, like reframing.
Exactly. You don't just remember the harm. You actively integrate your story of being wronged with a broader understanding of the other person, their intentions, circumstances, maybe their pain. Rewriting a chapter of your autobiography.
Changing the meaning.
Yes. As they say, forgiveness relies heavily on taking the offender's perspective and reframing the memory's emotional tone. It's not erasing the memory, but making new meaning around it, altering its grip.
Which sounds like deep psychological healing.
And potentially profound spiritual insight, too, because this neural recontextualization, this active reframing, it bears a really strong resemblance to that Christian pantheist idea of consciousness being participatory, interconnected.
How so?
Breath of the Cosmos describes forgiveness as a neural echo of the universe's own logic of unfolding, where rupture is not erased, but enfolded into a deeper harmony.
Enfolded, not erased.
Right. The brain isn't just fixing a problem for you, it's participating in a universal principle. The active reframing isn't just cognitive, it's cosmological, reflecting the universe's drive for integration, for the whole to reabsorb the broken into renewed coherence.
Our brains reflecting cosmic self-healing, that's mind-blowing.
It is a profound connection.
So the DMN helps recontextualize. What else is happening in this architecture?
Well, Fourier and colleagues highlight this beautiful dual movement of mercy.
Dual movement.
Yeah. On one hand, the lateral prefrontal cortex imposes that top-down regulation, inhibition, the stop button for retaliation. Simultaneously, the medial prefrontal cortex and TPJ are actively engaged in mentalizing social perspective-taking, imagination.
So inhibition and imagination.
Exactly. Mercy depends on both.
Right.
Suppressing destructive drives and envisioning the offender as more than the harm. Seeing beyond the act.
Which echoes that quote from Breath of the Cosmos.
True forgiveness is not erasure, but transformation. The memory relit by a wider light. It's illuminating the pain with a different understanding, reducing its power.
Okay, so that leads to a question many people have. Why does forgiving often feel so good? So liberating, spiritually meaningful.
Yeah, it's often not just duty, but real peace, relief, even joy. Part of the answer is in the brain's reward systems.
Reward systems. Like dopamine.
Involved, yes.
Yeah.
Studies by Billingsley and Lucen show choosing to forgive activates areas like the ventromedial prefrontal cortex, vmPFC, and the striatum.
And those are linked to.
Pro-social behavior, decision-making, and crucially subjective well-being. Feelings of reward. Mercy might feel rewarding because the brain is tuned to restoring social harmony and personal coherence. It signals a return to balance.
So it's biologically satisfying.
It seems so. But from that cosmic perspective, this feeling good is maybe more than just chemical reinforcement or an evolutionary perk.
What else could it be?
It's interpreted as resonance with the whole, suggesting mercy is wired to feel good because it resonates with the deeper unity of being.
Wow. Our reward system echoing cosmic truth.
That's the idea. Connection, coherence, wholeness are the desired state. And acts that restore this feel good because they align us with that deeper reality.
So the neuroarchitecture isn't just damage control.
No, it's this multi-layered orchestration. Reappraisal, empathy, narrative restructuring, reward. All aimed at transmuting suffering into connection. A pathway to wholeness, biologically grounded and spiritually resonant. Marvel.
A powerful synthesis. Biology and spirit intertwine. Now, while we celebrate forgiveness, we learn even more by looking at its darker sibling, revenge.
The other side of the coin.
McCullough, Kurzban, and Tabak argue they aren't opposites, but complementary adaptive strategies for navigating social life.
Two outputs to the same system.
Essentially, yes, the same social valuation mechanism, calculating risks and benefits of restoring versus severing a relationship or punishing. It explains why we seem to bounce between mercy and retaliation.
Depending on the situation.
Exactly. And at the core is that welfare trade-off ratio, the WTR.
Right, the internal calculation.
It assesses how much you'll trade your well-being to benefit or harm another. So someone wrongs you, your WTR plummets. You want revenge.
The primal response.
But if that person retains high relational value, the brain might inhibit punishment. It weighs the long-term value against short-term satisfaction, and forgiveness becomes the adaptive recalibration.
A strategic choice based on social value and cost benefit. Pragmatic neuroeconomics.
Yeah, almost like an economic decision for the brain.
The neuroeconomics support this, right? Billingsley and Lawson found revenge thoughts activate the striatum, the reward anticipation area.
So retaliation can feel good physiologically.
Yes, that primal satisfaction.
Yeah.
But, and this is amazing, the same system can be co-opted by forgiveness.
How?
When people forgive, activity increases in the vmPFC and DLPFC areas for reappraisal, value-based decisions, self-regulation.
So it's not just suppressing revenge.
It's strategically redirecting motivational resources, rechanneling that drive for resolution towards a more constructive outcome. Reconciliation, or at least inner peace.
Choosing a different kind of payoff.
Exactly. The brain seeks coherence, survival, adapting to social complexity. Vengeance offers a quick, often destructive reward. Forgiveness offers a different, more sustained kind. Social repair, well-being, self-coherence.
This really highlights the sophisticated computation involved. Forgiveness as a neural bet on the future. But here's a crucial point. Something evolutionary psychology alone struggles with.
What's that?
Humans often forgive even when that WTR calculus says no, when there's no future benefit. Deep betrayal, irreparable trauma, even genocide where reconciliation is impossible.
Where there's no rational incentive.
Right. No future relational value, no tangible benefit, yet forgiveness sometimes happens. This is where Breath of the Cosmos adds that radical depth.
What does it suggest?
It says forgiveness is not always efficient. It is not always deserved. It is the quantum rupture that chooses coherence over collapse. A quantum rupture.
Meaning it can exceed the logical, adaptive framework, a disruptive, transcendent pattern realignment. Choosing wholeness where none logically seems possible.
So what explains this seemingly irrational mercy? Philosophers, scientists have puzzled over this.
Even McCullough and colleagues admit there's something inherently costly and yet inexplicably meaningful about it that resists full reduction.
A mystery.
Exactly. And this is where the metaphysical explanation steps in. When mercy happens without social incentives, when the WTR says retaliate, it might reflect a deeper cosmological impulse.
What an impulse.
Breath of the Cosmos calls it a memory older than the brain, the memory of unity.
Memory of unity.
Suggesting a fundamental drive in the universe towards connection, wholeness. And when we forgive profoundly, we tap into that ancient foundational blueprint.
So forgiveness spans rationality and grace.
Beautifully put. The calculating brain becomes a site of spiritual choice. And when vengeance is available, may be justified but not chosen, forgiveness becomes more than adaptive.
It becomes sacred. Sacred. A conscious participation in a universal truth.
That idea, forgiveness becoming sacred, leads us perfectly to integration. Forgiveness as cosmic realignment.
Bringing it all together.
So far, neurocognitive and evolutionary models show the how of forgiveness, the circuits, pressures, mechanisms, but they don't fully capture the why it feels so meaningful.
Why the liberation, transcendence, reunion? Why the inner coherence?
Right. Science maps the process, but struggles with the profound subjective experience.
And this is where Breath of the Cosmos offers that framework. The universe as a conscious, unfolding whole. Everything interconnected in an animating presence, a sacred field of coherence.
So forgiveness isn't just psychological.
From this view, no. It's reintegration into that sacred field of coherence, aligning with a cosmic order that seeks restoration over fragmentation, participating in the nature of reality.
And this doesn't contradict the neuroscience. Not at all. It complements it, deepens it. Remember Ricciardi's study. Forgiveness involves the precuneus, inferior parietal lobe areas for autobiographical memory, perspective-taking, our meaning-making faculties.
Right.
Forgiveness transfigures memory, changes its impact. As Breath of the Cosmos says, memory no longer loops in harm, but opens toward wholeness.
Which matches the neuroscience. Prefrontal cortex inhibits reaction. TPJ reinterprets motives. DMN reframes the narrative.
Exactly. What neuroscience maps as reappraisal, Breath reads as spiritual return. The brain's work reflecting a spiritual journey towards integration.
A rewiring into a more whole story.
And this dual reading is potent with the reward circuitry too. Forgiving activates vmPFC, striatum joy, well-being.
Evolution says that's adaptive. Social harmony feels good.
True. But the Pantheist lens says this joy is more. It's resonance with the whole. Breath states joy is coherence felt.
Coherence felt.
So the joy isn't just personal benefit. It's deep resonance with universal unity, aligning your internal state with the universe's drive toward wholeness. Forgiveness restores attunement, neural and spiritual. A deep alignment our bodies recognize and reward.
And this alignment shows up in Forey's three-part model, too. Control, mentalizing, valuation.
Yes, strong spiritual echoes. Regulating anger mirrors spiritual discipline, surrender. Letting go of the ego's demand.
Okay.
The imaginative act of seeing through another's eyes, that's compassion, recognizing shared humanity. And the vmPFC's integration of relational value, weighing reconciliation that aligns with the sacred calculus of love, prioritizing connection, inherent worth over grievance.
Like that quote.
To forgive is to remember that the other is not the harm they caused, but the being they are becoming. That's transcendent moral valuation, seeing potential even after hurt.
So the integrated picture is?
Forgiveness is both biologically coherent and metaphysically luminous. The brain evolved it for conflict resolution, sure, but a conscious cosmos infuses it with transpersonal meaning.
Are advanced brain capacities mirroring cosmic tendencies?
Exactly. Inhibition, empathy, reappraisal, mirroring the universe's drive for reintegration, healing. Forgiveness isn't just neuroplastic, it's sacred geometry.
Sacred geometry.
A fundamental pattern of coherence, inscribed in our neural tissue and in time itself. A blueprint for healing at every level, from neuron to cosmos.
That image, sacred geometry in tissue and time, wow. That leads us to our final section, a sacred model of reconciliation, seeing forgiveness as a journey to wholeness.
Not just a single act.
No, a complete multi-phase process, integrating cognitive control, empathic imagination, moral reasoning, reclaiming narrative meaning. The neurobiological map becomes a spiritual cartography of return.
Return to self-regulation, connection, wholeness.
And Forey's framework shows the path again. Lateral prefrontal cortex, control inhibition, TPJ medial prefrontal, mentalizing, perspective-taking, vmPFC, moral valuation, relational decision-making.
It shows it's not passive, not weakness.
No, it's embodied, structured, demanding effort, demanding restraint, holding back reaction, demanding reimagination, seeing differently, and demanding redirection energy towards future cohesion, peace. A real journey.
And integrating this with Breath of the Cosmos brings out the full symbolic resonance. The brain's abilities aren't just utilitarian survival tools.
They reflect cosmic principle.
Yes. The author writes, the same circuits that let us remember pain are the ones that let us transmute it. Pathways for blessing if we walk them wide enough.
Pathways for blessing.
So the architecture of forgiveness isn't a lucky accident. It's the spiritual anatomy of healing itself. Our brain's designed for repair, integration, return to wholeness, mirroring the universe's own drive.
Which helps explain those puzzling cases, forgiving when evolutionary logic says no.
Exactly. Forgiving a murderer, releasing resentment towards unrepentant abusers, defies the WTR's cost-benefit logic.
Science might call it irrational.
But Breath of the Cosmos calls it sacred memory. It suggests the act of mercy is the moment the soul remembers its shape is larger than the wound.
Transcending gain and loss. Tapping into something fundamental. Remembering our essence is greater than the harm.
And can neuroimaging even support this sacred memory idea? Surprisingly, maybe.
Oh.
Ricciardi found forgiveness activates the precuneus and inferior parietal lobule regions, also implicated in spiritual and mystical experiences.
That overlap again, not coincidence.
Suggests forgiveness might be a portal into altered states where the self is redefined, reconnected to a greater whole, beyond personal identity.
Which makes sense from the Pantheist view.
Perfectly. Forgiveness dissolves the illusion of separateness, returns the self to that field of divine coherence. A journey back to fundamental truth right in our brains.
So we're seeing a sacred model where biology and spirit are entangled, not opposed.
Intimately entangled. Forgiveness isn't reducible to chemicals, nor inaccessible to science. It's a manifestation of the universe's own logic of self-healing in ourselves.
Unlike physical wounds trigger regeneration.
Psychological wounds activate the brain's capacity for narrative repair, reconstructing meaning.
And like gravity draws particles.
Forgiveness draws fragmented selves, relationships, communities into belonging, unity, a fundamental force.
Which is why it often feels like more than just a decision.
Yes, like a threshold crossed, a recalibration of time, a revelation, uncovering a truth obscured by pain.
It's not forgetting.
It's remembering more fully, remembering the other is more than their harm, remembering we are more than our pain, and remembering the cosmos, through us, can choose coherence again and again. Active participation in healing reality.
So what does this all mean for us, for you listening? This deep dive shows forgiveness isn't simple, it's measurable, embodied. The neural architecture DLPFC, TPC, vmPFC, DMN reveals a sophisticated cognitive process.
Regulation, social reasoning, narrative reconstruction.
It's one of the brain's most advanced capacities, shifting the self from reaction to relational coherence, and evolutionarily it's adaptive. Reduces retaliation costs, preserves bonds, WTR, reward systems they show reconciliation is strategic and gratifying.
Yet, and this is critical, science alone isn't sufficient. It explains the how, but not always the why, especially in those illogical moments. Defying utility, seeking restoration without reciprocity. That's where Breath of the Cosmos' vision is indispensable. Forgiveness as more than strategy or coping. A profound metaphysical return.
But the breath's way of remembering unity.
In the face of rupture. A sacred act, realigning self with others with the whole of being. The convergence of our C-system processing and sacred intention. Evolution meets transcendence.
Our complex brain capacities becoming instruments of divine memory.
Exactly. So forgiveness isn't merely a decision, it's an alignment. A neurological pathway back to love and a spiritual recognition that love was never truly absent, just obscured.
And so the final thought we leave you with is this. To cultivate forgiveness isn't just good for your emotional health or social life, though it absolutely is.
It's more.
It's actively participating in the coherent logic of the universe. Living neurally and spiritually in a pattern that honors wholeness over fragmentation, connection over division.
As Breath of the Cosmos concludes, to forgive is to return to the breath, to the bond, to the blueprint of being. It is the quiet science of making the world whole again.
So consider how you might embody this quiet science in your own life, how your own experiences of forgiveness, big, small, hard, easy, might be part of this larger, beautiful cosmic pattern drawing everything back to unity. Thank you for diving deep with us.